Welcome back to Balancing Act, guys. Once again, I'm Piper.
I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Preston.
And this episode, we're going to be talking about balancing school with extracurriculars. I'm the discussion leader, and why don't we go ahead and start with all of the clubs that we're all in. Isaiah, you can go first.
Okay, what's going on? Again, it's Isaiah. This year I'm doing Global Studies, which is basically a gardening club, teach you how to grow food and become more independently sustainable. And I'm also in a business club called DECA, so if you want to do drop shipping, definitely join it. Helps.
We do not do drop shipping.
We should do drop
We should do. It's definitely good. My freshman and sophomore year, I played football. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Preston?
Alright, so I am also part of both DECA and also Global Studies. And I have been a part of Model UN since freshman year. So what Model UN is, it's pretty much it's a model of what like a council meeting at the United Nations would be. We solve problems, major geopolitical problems, and it's been pretty fun. However, we had a little bit of a falling out, but we're making it work.
And then I am also a part of DECA and Global Studies. I am also in National Honor Society, which most people know what NHS is, and then IB Ambassadors, which is a club for IB students, just to talk to other IB students. We plan socials for IB, we have a newsletter and stuff like that that's fully student run. And in the past I was in choir and the Choir Honor Society, but due to academic reasons I did have to leave that club.
You're the guy sending the newsletter to us?
Not me, but the other sect of the club.
I know not you, but okay.
No, yeah, IB Ambassadors make that newsletter that you get like every month.
From Missoula.
Yeah.
From Miss Eula, it says, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So do you guys actually make it?
Yeah, that's one thing I like about the club is that another section of the club that's literally like the newspaper section. It's student written. We get all of our information from Miss Euler, so it's accurate and stuff like that. Like it'll like shout out people that have done good stuff, like Micaiah's on it, and like they shouted out like Micaiah and Alex's CAS project and stuff like that.
What was their CAS project?
It was the thing where they were collecting batteries. I saw posters for it.
Oh, the battery thing?
Yeah, that was them. And then, I'm in the special events category, so I help with the orientations, with the open houses. A couple weeks ago, we helped set up for cast night and stuff like that. And that's one thing I like about that club is that it adds more value to the program I'm in. And I feel like that's like a positive aspect of being in clubs with school because they can bring more positive aspects to your educational career. Like we're all in global studies, and me and Preston are actually in environmental science, which is like the class version of the club, and we get perks for being in it.
Yeah, the teacher for that class is also the sponsor for that club, so she
shout out to Miss Shaw.
Yeah, shout out Miss Shaw.
Yeah, school doesn't always have to be really like doom and gloom. Extracurriculars can kind of like bring a light, help you again get more involved and
help you establish like relationships with your teachers.
There you go.
Yeah, like if you ever like when you get to where we're starting to think about like college and letters of recommendation, it can help you get closer to your teachers, have like a extra bond with them. Like Miss Shaw would do a favor for any of us, or like we're in DECA and Miss Green loves us and we love Miss Green. And it helps you create more of a bond with your teachers in case you ever need anything from them or they ever need anything from you. And it also helps you create more bonds with your friends. Like we all became closer through being in global studies.
Just gotta play the right cards.
Yeah. One thing that I think we should talk about too is, do you ever feel like extracurriculars like overwhelm you in school? Like you don't have enough time to do all your work because of extracurriculars?
Definitely not. I feel like this year, I feel a lot less stressed, but previous years when I did football, I had to worry about both sports and school. So for me, trying to juggle that was just really hard because I want to do good in school, but I also want to try to be good in football as well. It was like really hard to try to be good in both areas. So I mean, it was just really bad.
I feel like it depends on what extracurriculars you're in. Like we're all in extracurriculars that are a part of our classes.
It's not so time consuming.
Yeah, they aren't that demanding as well. They only need you to like be there for like an hour for one day.
With football, I'm staying after school for like an extra 2-3 hours.
And you have games.
Games,
and then you have
Fridays.
work now. I mean, you didn't before, but imagine the struggle that would have been.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
And or like I was in choir, but I was kind of in the similar situation you were in, where choir is such a time demanding extracurricular because I had rehearsals, I had shows, I had to sing at certain other events for school, I had competitives, I had choir outside of school as well, which I still continue to do because it's less time demanding, but in school choir. And it was like, it felt like that the club was demanding more of my time than I had, and even if I was like to say that to them, like I don't have the time to do this, it like wouldn't matter almost. And like even if I had choir as a class, like it was also a part of my grade, which is one thing I wouldn't recommend. Don't do a club where the club is a class. Like, have you ever been like that? Like, football's a class.
Well, yeah, football's a class, but it's just like
It's
it's weightlifting, so it's an easy grade. But for something like choir,
Yeah, like, choir
it's just attendance.
choir wasn't a club, it was an extracurricular, but it was a class. So if I didn't go to concerts, I would fail the class. And that's one thing I don't recommend. If you're gonna be in a school club, make sure it's not like a grade. Because then if you don't have time to do stuff, it could impact your grade, and that's like not a good thing. So that's one thing I would say. Try and stay away from those clubs, because I didn't know that when I first joined, but then I was in too deep by the time I realized it. So then I had to keep doing it, but then I left this year because it was starting to get overwhelming with all of the schoolwork that I started having and trying to balance concerts.
Fortunately, I had a way out. I mean, I wasn't really going to go to college for football, so I could just say, F it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I've never had too much of a problem with balancing like my extracurriculars with my schoolwork, but it can be a challenge. However, don't let that discourage you from trying new clubs. Like I recommend, starting as many as possible, and then sometimes you're gonna have to cut them off.
Yeah. Like my rule of thumb for when I was first in high school, like in freshman year, I said I'm gonna pick 5 clubs. And whichever ones I don't like by the end of the year, I'm going to leave. I ended up leaving 4 of those clubs, but I stayed with choir. And then the next year, you try 3 clubs. If you don't like them, you end them by the end of the year. And the 3 clubs that I picked last year, I actually stayed with. Like, I picked Global Studies, I stayed with it. I picked IB Ambassadors, I stayed with it. I picked NHS, I stayed with it. And then once you get to your junior year, I feel like you really shouldn't try to join many new clubs once you get to junior year, because you're already so busy.
3 minimum.
Yeah.
3 minimum.
Like we joined DECA but that's not super overwhelming. Like it's not super time consuming. But don't when you're in your junior year, don't try to join a sport unless you're already doing that sport. Because once you get to that point, it's like you can't balance more on top of what you already have, and you're adding so much extra work, especially if you're an IB like we are.
Yeah,
definitely.
Maybe you could get away with it if you're not in such a rigorous program. But
yeah.
For us, unfortunately,
we don't have
sacrifice.
that. We don't have that.
Sacrifices.
Sacrifice must be made for the IB diploma.
And that's one thing I can say with when you have to limit extracurriculars. You should always limit extracurriculars if you feel like your mental health is declining. That's why I left choir, because balancing school and that extracurricular, specifically that one. My other ones weren't like that, but it was starting to take a toll on my mental health. I was stressed all the time.
Same here.
Yeah. Don't ever that's one thing I could say. Don't ever let school and don't let things in your life that are supposed to be fun start making you depressed or anxious. Because then they start not being fun, and then what's the reason to do them anyways? Why'd you have that reaction when I said that?
Well,
is it relatable?
Is it relatable?
Yeah, but it's personal. We talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, and it's those things are supposed to be for your enjoyment. So I feel like if they're not for your enjoyment anymore, why stay?
Yeah.
Hi, Braylon. So we're interviewing you for our podcast, and we're just going to talk to you about how you balance choir with other parts of your school life, because I know, is that the only club you're in?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been in choir? What is your position in choir? Do you have any leadership roles?
I've been in choir for 7 years. I am a baritone, and I just do risers and stuff.
Awesome, cool. So does choir ever get overwhelming with school, stressful, balancing rehearsals with your schoolwork and stuff?
No, we don't really have many rehearsals, and the timing really isn't all that bad. so it makes it a lot easier.
What are some positive aspects of you being in choir with like on your school life and your social life in school?
Social life, it opens up the ability to talk to other people that I usually wouldn't talk to. And what was the other part of the question?
Positive aspects of choir on like your school life.
Well, it just opens up a lot of opportunities to be social.
Is choir is a class, correct?
Yes,
Is it a graded class?
yes.
Is it what you would consider like an easy A class, like a good way to boost your GPA, but still having a fun class?
It's an easy way to get an A, but for people like me who actually take it serious, it's a lot more than just the grade.
Okay.
You get A's in this class?
Yeah.
Like, I've been singing for 7 years, so music is kind of who I am. Music is my personality. It just brings me happiness upon any topic, anything. You can relate almost anything with music.
So you'd say like this extracurricular kind of transcends like that, like just it being a part of school, like it's just a part of your life at this
Yeah.
point. That's awesome. Do you ever have to limit your effort in either school or choir just to maintain a healthy balance between the two, or is that not really a problem?
No, not really.
Okay, cool. You have a concert coming up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You wanna plug the dates for that concert?
April 4th and 5th starts at 6.
Awesome. Okay.
I said it starts at 6.
Where? Don't they?
Here.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, this is going on YouTube, so we don't know where here is, gang. Well, we do, but
Cape Coral High School.
there you go.
Has that had any effect on your stress levels with it being close to concerts?
Since I've been doing it for as long as I do, I just same old thing.
Alright, well cool. Thank you, Braylon. That was all we had left to ask you. Alright, thank you to Braylon for your comments. Thank you for like kind of the opposite view of what I said. It's always good to have a second opinion on things.
Yeah.
Thank you to our club sponsors who we talked about, like shout out to Miss Shaw, shout out to Miss Green, shout out to Miss Euler. I love you, Miss Euler.
Shout out.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
And I think that's all we have to say today. So we'll catch you guys in episode 3. Bye,
Alright.
Z's.
Talk to you soon, Z's. Bye, bye, Z.
Un video más, mi gente, me encanta esta vaina.